Hello everybody, welcome to a World of Warship Blitz video. There's been a couple of days without videos, so my apologies for that. I just ran out of material. Well, I didn't run out of material, I ran out of something. Anyway, I'm back, and here we have the HMS Vanguard, the new Tier 8 British premium battleship. So we're going to do some comparisons, and of course we'll do, well, not of course, but we are going to do two sets of comparisons. So we are going to be comparing this with the Monarch, and we will also be comparing it with other premium tier 8 battleships. So I've got them set up roughly the same. So let us go through and well, let's get some easy stuff out of the way. Historical camo is exactly the same historical camo as any other battleship apart from the Tirpitz. And the Tirpitz has historical camo that has different capabilities, but it's ship hit points, plus 4% firing range, minus 4% battery shell dispersion, and torpedo reduction of 6%, which is exactly the same as for the Monarch. And it's run through the missions, play 10 battles, and then destroy 2 enemy battleships in a battle for 4 steel. Pretty much on par with probably most other Yep, pretty much on par with most other premium battleships. Right, the main event. Let's go and have a look at some stats. So the Vanguard, 1946, obviously at the end of the war, but let's go through till we get to stuff that matters in the game. So hit points, 55,224 hit points. Looking at the citadel protection, 12.5%. Fire and flooding resistance, 15%. So damage reduction 13.5 and torpedo damage reduction 15.9. And if we compare that with the Monarch, well, this is basically the citadel protection, fire, flooding and resistance damage reduction and torpedo damage reduction is exactly the same. This sucker just has a whole lot more hit points, like 7,000 more hit points, which I'm going to have to say in a British battleship is pretty welcome stuff. Speed and manoeuvrability. Actually, let's do that so I don't get distracted by the guns. Maximum speed 29.3 knots, so nearly 30 knots. Time to full speed 22 seconds, which is faster than Germans, but still battleship speed. Maximum traverse speed is 5.6 degrees per second, which seems pretty good, and a turn time of 8 seconds also seems very good. So it's got faster turn and a faster turn time than the Monarch. This is a very agile ship. It's a full second faster to full speed, and its full speed is roughly a knot and a half faster than the Monarch. So this is a very capable ship from a maneuverability point of view. This might be just my thing. Guns, what have we got in the way of guns? So we have 4x2, 381 millimeters, which I'm guessing in inches is 15 inch. 19-second reload, 13.88 kilometer range. 13% fire chance, which is pretty nice. Not Nelson nice, but still pretty nice. Big difference between the HE damage and the AP damage, though, between 1200 and 1600. Looking at the Monarch has 3x3, also 381 millimeters, with a 19.8 second reload, so slightly slower reload, slightly longer range at 14.15. HE damage is slightly more, but still 1200, 16% fire chance, and AP damage is higher at 1700 and 1600. Maximum traverse speed, I believe, is going to be, well, faster on the Vanguard. So the Vanguard is less about the power and more about the manoeuvrability, although, to be fair, that fire chance is quite a lot better on the Monarch. Having the 9 guns is nice, especially with the 2 turrets up the front, but still, this has, well, not quite the same range, but it has faster traverse, which is going to need because the ship has faster traverse, and it has a slightly, very slightly faster reload. Secondary guns, no auto secondary guns for this fella, but he gets 8x2, 133 millimeters, so 5.5 inch or something. Reload time 7 seconds, nearly 6 kilometer range, 350 HE damage, 2% fire chance, compared with, well, actually exactly the same as the Monarch. Yeah, exactly the same as the Monarch, and the Monarch doesn't get auto secondaries either, which I should know because I've played the Monarch quite a lot and I've got 130,000 XP in it, and I still don't realise that it hasn't got automatic secondaries. That is a concern. That is a careless captain speaking there. Okay, this actually is strange. Carrier Air Group, bombs per plane 1. Okay. I guess that means I'll have to play it, find out what that actually means. But if this is like the Issei, oh dear. Well, actually, if it's mainly a battleship and it's got a sort of a plane that can buzz around and spot destroyers, actually that's a lot better than the Issei. Right, this at least has secondaries. Anti-aircraft armament 255, 3.9 kilometre range, and 258 at 1.8. So the ranges look pretty standard. Let's have a look at the values. They're slightly higher than the Monarch. So the AA is slightly better than the Monarch, and the surface detection, well, it's a battleship. And you don't really go out looking for surface detection on a battleship, but it's rough. It's got slightly worse surface detection than the Monarch, but at 10 kilometres. Does that really matter? Right. So let's do a bit of a comparison against some of the other battleships, in case you didn't get enough of the stats the first time around. Let's see how it compares with its peers. There you go. So we'll be comparing it with the Alabama, which has far better flooding and fire resistance and far fewer hit points and far better torpedo reduction and better damage reduction. The key, it's got, well, the Vanguard has more hit points than just about anything else. Better flooding and fire resistance than the key, but pretty much equivalent for everything else. So it'll probably feel like a Japanese battleship. Tirpitz, the Tirpitz has almost as many hit points as the Vanguard, but still not quite there. It has much better citadel protection, slightly worse flooding and fire, slightly worse flooding and fire resistance, and better damage reduction. The Richelieu, well, doesn't have that many hit points and isn't great in the armour department, apart from the fact that it has the great torpedo damage reduction. So the Vanguard is out in front in hit points, but is a little bit softer in the protection. For speed, I suspect that it's going to be comparable with all of them for speed. So 29 knots, 22 seconds, 5.6. So it's got faster turn than the Alabama, which is not surprising, faster acceleration and faster top speed. The key, it's got faster top speed, faster acceleration and much faster turning than the key. The key is an extremely unagile ship. The Tirpitz, well, no surprise there. I don't think anything could take longer to get to full speed than the Tirpitz at tier 8. The speed is still a lot faster, much faster to get to top speed and much more manoeuvrable. The Richelieu, well, the Richelieu is the top for speed, but Vanguard is second. But the Vanguard still has slightly better acceleration and better turning performance all round. In fact, the Vanguard is going to be very interesting to play. For guns, well, this is where the different ships will show up quite differently, I'm sure. So much longer range, the 406mm, which I'm assuming is a 16-inch on the Alabama, take 22 seconds, so 3 seconds longer to reload, but they throw the shells an extra kilometre in distance. HE damage is less, fire chance is the same, but the AP damage is more. The key has 10 guns rather than the 9 of the Alabama or the 8 of the Vanguard, so the Vanguard is a bit lightly armed. 410mm, which I'm assuming is 60-inch again, 21 seconds, so 3 seconds slower reload. Again, a kilometre longer throw range, more AP damage, same fire chance, and less HE damage. So the turret reverse speed on the key is pretty good, but I think that's because I've got the right module for it. So here we are back at the Vanguard. So it is a bit short on the legs for its guns. The Tirpitz, well, the Tirpitz throws its shells 90-second reload, which is the same as the Vanguard, so pretty quick. It throws its shells a kilometre further roughly, but yeah, good luck with that because of the dispersion. Much worse HE damage, better AP damage by a little bit, 9% fire chance. So really the guns of the Vanguard, well, yeah, superior to the guns of the Tirpitz. The Richelieu has 19.474 seconds. It also comes with a rapid reload, of course, so that help makes it a little bit more aggressive. The range on this sucker is a kilometre longer. HE damage is less, fire chance is 1% less, but the main AP damage at 1700 is about 50 or 60 more than the Vanguard. So the Vanguard's problem with its guns is just hasn't got really a lot of them. For secondaries, well, so its guns aren't that bad, but yeah, having only 8 and having them in 4 turrets with 2 each could be a bit hard getting all of them on target. Going through secondaries, right, well, its secondaries have pretty much, its secondaries are inferior to those of the Alabama, even though the Alabama has slightly smaller caliber secondaries. The Alabama has 10 times 2 rather than 8 times 2, and it's got 6 second rather than a 7 second reload, roughly the same range, and about 20 more damage and 1% extra fire chance. The Key has a ton of secondaries, 8 times 1 means a lot less, slower reload, slightly longer range, slightly more damage, 2% higher fire chance, and it has a whole lot of auto secondaries, but still, they may not be as hard hitting as the Vanguard secondaries. Of course, only battle will tell. The Tirpitz, of course, has less main secondaries, a slower reload, but a much further range, and in fact you can get that up to almost 8 kilometres if you really want to push it. Much higher damage, no fire chance of course, and it has a ton of auto secondaries like a good German battleship would. The secondary guns on the Richelieu are all at the rear, 9 second reload, so they're really slow. They're sort of like the Izumo guns. Quite long range, quite high damage, 1% higher damage fire chance. It has automated secondaries, which make up for the fact that it's got nothing facing the front. So the secondaries on the Vanguard aren't bad, but they're not really special, no great range. There's enough of them, but they're sort of mediocre damage. And in the middle from a fire perspective, right, let's have a look at the AA. So 350 and basically 350 AA versus the Alabama, of course, which, basically has over 130 or 120 more large caliber damage and 50 additional small caliber damage. So that's the king of the AA. Or is it? The Key has slightly longer range than the Alabama, which is 3.6. I think it's 3.9 for the Vanguard, so the Vanguard has good range. But it has roughly 100 more or 90 more large caliber AA and another 50 additional small caliber AA. So the Vanguard for its AA is actually, all right. Certainly it is better than the Tirpitz, which has a dearth of small caliber AA, about 150 less. Or the Richelieu, the Richelieu actually has pretty good small AA indeed. So yeah, so the Vanguard's pretty weak on the AA department. We won't go through concealment because basically they're all big 10 kilometres. Let's just go and have a look at some special stuff. So it gets precise aiming mod 2, which means that gun accuracy is increased by 35% for 20 seconds, which means that if you time it right, you'll get a shot and a second shot, as long as you're ready with the second shot. It gets 3 of those, that's pretty good. The cooldown time again is 75 seconds, so best get the captain's skill to sort that out. And the sonar, turns the sonar on for 25 seconds. Sonar in a battleship at tier 8 is, other people may think differently, but if you're not able to basically operate in a way that makes you a hard target without sonar, having sonar isn't really going to help you. Although the maneuverability of the ship is much higher than other ships, so maybe it will help. I think we've been through the battle honours. What are its elite ship skills? Torpedo damage reduction of 10%, yeehaw. Or main battery reload time of 3% with a main battery traverse speed of 7%. No contest. So there is the Vanguard, which looks like a very attractive little ship. sort of, I suppose, a classic sort of 8-gun, 4-turret World War II battleship, but it looks like it's going to have some pretty powerful accuracy with that precise aiming. It's got a lot of hit points, which is good because it ain't got a lot of armour. And yeah, it's fairly agile. It's by far the most agile tier 8 battleship among the premiums. Anyway, I hope you found that educational. And what I'll do is I will hop in this and see how it runs as a ship in battle. Thanks for watching.